はい、皆さんこんにちは、ジョーです。今日は僕はですね、東京で行っております、イーサグローバルのハッカスの会場に来ております。で、ここでですね、非常に面白いプロトコルの方々にお会いしていますので、今日はそういった方々をですね、インタビューしていきたいと思います。Thank you so much, David.
Thank you, Joe.
We are really glad to have you here. First of all, can you please briefly introduce about yourself and also your protocol to my audience?
Hello, everybody. My name is David, and I'm one of the co-founders of LIT Protocol. It is a distributed key management network. So in Web3, in cryptocurrencies, keys, what are known as like private keys, basically have two functions. They can encrypt things that and you may run into this when you use like an encrypted messenger like WhatsApp, and they can also sign data. So when you make a transaction, you're signing that data before you push it to the blockchain. And so LIT, as a key management network, basically takes care of holding the keys, but in a distributed way using something called multi-party computation, and then allows developers to use those keys for encryption and for signing via an SDK or a programmable interface.
Okay, that's very interesting. First of all, like, why did you come to Japan?
It's been really wonderful to be here. I spent a week touring around the country both before the event, and it's really just to engage with the community that we've had here. And we've been emailing back and forth and working with some folks in Japan and in Tokyo. And so to be able to come here and meet hackers face to face and meet builders face to face and meet corporations that are building things like Web3 games face to face that we're already partnered with is really invaluable. And in addition to us being able to provide guidance for people that are developing with the system, it's also an opportunity for us to learn. Because at the end of the day, our goal is to make it easier to build a new internet, to build a decentralized web. And so being able to interface with people from all different cultures is really exciting. And I personally am a deep admirer of Japanese culture.
Thank you. Okay, so going back to your product, with your product and technology, what kind of protocol or service that you guys support for being able to work together?
Yeah, absolutely. So the use cases for this system, as mentioned, like keys can do two things. They can encrypt and they can sign. And those are the two features of this distributed key management network called LIT. And so on the encryption side, it's a lot of things like Web3 social. So Lens Protocol is a partner. And in Lens Protocol, you can gate or block access to some content unless somebody follows you. LIT is the mechanism that checks, does somebody subscribe to Joe? If so, let them decrypt or view this content that's stored on an open web system like IPFS, Filecoin. And then the other side is signing. So this is, again, like wallet type of activities. Teams are using LIT to develop methods to onboard users into Web3 that have things like Google sign-in, email sign-in, web authn, basically the Web2 authentication methods and multi-factor authentication with a key that is custodied by a distributed network. And what we're really getting towards as we continue to work with these teams and decentralize this protocol is a method for bringing people onto Web3 where the user experience is at parity or equal to the Web2 experience, but it still gives the user one self-sovereign login into the entire internet, what we all love about Web3, ownership over one's data and one's assets.
Okay, then it sounds like maybe you guys can use the NFT to do so many stuff, like ticketing or all
Exactly.
That stuff.
Ticketing, social media following, acting as ownership over a wallet itself. Yeah, NFTs or any assets, also opportunities for private data become really exciting as well.
Okay. What's your focus now?
Our focus right now is continuing to distribute the network and build tools to support hackers. So we have engineering challenges ahead of us. We're on track to have the mainnet out soon. And we have a bunch of really awesome teams that have been building in the developer preview. But yeah, that's the focus right now. And then what's ahead really is just like a totally radical new internet, I think, for all of us, both on the finance side and on the user-owned data side. And so there's a lot of collaboration, of course, with teams building and other networks and protocols in the space.
Okay, and you mentioned the Lens protocol, but if a company or project wants to work with you, how do they do?
We are very easy to get in touch with.
Okay.
Our DMs are open on Twitter. We have a Discord. We have developer docs. My Twitter handle is @DavidL Snyder. My DMs are open as well. So that's what's so great about this industry right now is certainly there's a lot of money involved in all this type of thing, but it still feels like a community and it's very easy to just have a direct conversation. So we love hearing from people, and many of our team members are on Discord. And I think really the best place to dive in if somebody is interested in developing or exploring this system for their use case or application is the developer documents.
Okay, what do you mean by that, developing documents?
Just developer.litprotocol.com, or if you go to litprotocol.com, you can just click Getting Started, and you can read, here's what this is, here's how it works, here's how to use it, so on and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then lastly, now the Japanese government trying to do things in Web3 space.
Yes.
And then do you have heard anything, or do you have any sense on that?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, there's some interesting exploration south of here around using governance tokens for municipal or city-based governance. And it seems like it's an attempt to basically attract talent and start building in crypto. I don't think it's going to be an overnight thing. I don't think anybody does, but the intention, and direction is really exciting to me because the capacity to have just much more interoperable systems. For example, like this isn't Web3, it's all managed through regulation Web2, but if you think about how the healthcare system works in Estonia, for example, being able to have that function in decentralized rails and being able to, folks be able to take their data from one place to another is really exciting. The other reason I'm really excited about governments getting involved in this space is that certainly there's some projects that have been pursuing it, but I think there's also really interesting opportunities around climate action. For example, like climate data sharing networks that run on distributed rails really seems like the way to move forward with that really pressing problem. And so that's another thing that's encouraging when I start to see governments really looking at this technology, and the Japanese government specifically, with an optimistic lens or perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe.
All right. So I'm looking forward to you guys doing something in Japan, also like any other country. But after this, I'd like to follow up things on updates on your protocol. So
sounds great.
If there's any opportunity again, can I ask you for the interview, or
I can't wait.
Anything I can do?
I think we're all going to be doing this for the next several decades, so we'll be friends. It'll be awesome.
Thank you so much for
Thanks,
your time.
Joe.
Thank you.
Hey.
Great.